Top 10 Tyrants that once ruled the world. 1. Caligula, the pervert Caesar, Roman emperor from 37 AD till 41 AD. Let them hate, so long as they fear, was the motto of this leader of the Roman Empire, of whom his predecessor, Tiberius, once said that Caligula would become a snake for the Roman people. Indeed, Caligula's cruelty, extravagance, and sexual perversity made many of his contemporaries regard him as an insane tyrant. Caligula was notorious for his sexual bacchanalias and insatiable lust. He did not hesitate to take the women he wanted away from their husbands. Caligula is also believed to have committed incest with each of his 3 sisters, even prostituting them to other men. Caligula's ambitious construction projects, craving for luxury, and unrestrained squandering resulted in his losing the enormous imperial inheritance left by his predecessor Tiberius, and led to crippling taxes, frenzied price surges, and veiled robbery. Moreover, Caligula declared himself a living god, and even his horse Insidatus was called an impersonation of all gods. 2. Genghis Khan, the supreme warrior, founder and ruler of the Mongol Empire from 1206 till 1227. A Mongol legend says that Genghis Khan was born with a blood clot grasped in his fist, a sign that he was destined to become a great leader. The omen proved true, as the boy grew into the outstanding warrior of the 13th century, who managed to forge the largest contiguous empire in history. Born Temujin, he experienced poverty, persecution, and imprisonment after the death of his father, a tribal chief. But he rode the storm, and his military genius helped him defeat rival tribes one by one. By 1206, he had become the ruler of almost all of Mongolia. It was then that Temujin pronounced Genghis Khan, the King of Kings. 3. Henry VII, the Bluebeard King, King of England from 1509 till 1547. After her death, which Ivan believed to have resulted from poisoning, a sharp change in his rule began. Having introduced the so-called Oprichnina regime, Ivan IV started terrorizing the country. Under the pretext of fighting treason among the court nobility, he ordered the brutal killing of people without proving their guilt, often just for fun, sometimes together with their kin and familiars. 5. Maximilien Robespierre, the incorruptible face of the Reign of Terror, considered to be the de facto ruler of France from 1793 till 1794. The life and death of Maximilien Robespierre, one of the most prominent and influential figures of the French Revolution, vividly demonstrates how a sincere intention to ensure the virtue and sovereignty of the people, carried out fanatically, turned out to be a terror for the nation. Robespierre welcomed the 1789 rebellion with open arms, being one of the leaders of the Jacobins. He ultimately dominated the newly established Committee of Public Safety which, fearing the sabotage of the revolution, began political and administrative purges and mass executions of the revolution's enemies. The government in a revolution is the despotism of liberty against tyranny, he used to say. 6. Joseph Stalin, the father of nations, General Secretary of the Soviet Union from 1922 to 1953. A politician who walked over the dead bodies of both his associates and rivals on his way to power, Joseph Stalin was also a ruler who achieved an almost unprecedented economic miracle of modern times, having made a great industrial and military power out of a dilapidated and mostly agrarian country. He found Russia working with wooden plows and left it equipped with atomic piles. Sir Winston Churchill is believed to have said about him, "It was under Stalin that the Soviet Union won the Great Patriotic War against Nazi Germany in 1945, thus making USSR's contribution to defeating the Axis in World War too hard to overestimate. And it was under Stalin, as well, that the Soviet people suffered the hardly bearable strains of collectivization and industrialization, the mass famine of the 30s, the notorious purges, and the creation of the Gulag system that, according to different estimates, 14 to 40 million Soviet citizens went through, with many not surviving." 7. Adolf Hitler, the Führer, Chancellor of Germany from 1933 to 1945. the man who initiated the deadliest conflict in human history, World War II, actually started off as a spy, following the ignominious defeat of Germany in World War I and the German 1918 to 1919 November Revolution. Adolf Hitler's job was fishing for information on the activities of small political parties and groups. It was then that he tried becoming a speechmaker at a political gathering. He felt he was in his element and soon became the leader of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, the Nazis. After assuming the position as Chancellor of Germany, Hitler suppressed the political opposition in the country, established the Gestapo, the secret state police, a system of concentration camps, and started mass Jew baiting, which later grew into a genocide of the Jews throughout Europe. Hitler wiped out 1/3 of the Jewish population of the world, an event known as the Holocaust. 8. Augusto Pinochet, the reformer dictator. President of Chile from 1973 to 1990. Military dictatorship and political repressions versus economic liberalization and reforms. That is the controversial legacy of the 16 years of Augusto Pinochet's rule in Chile. After the coup d'etat of September 11, 1973, he headed the junta that exercised executive and legislative functions of the government, and in 1974 was declared president. Ideologists of Pinochet's regime were saying that democracy is something Chile could not afford at the time. So the system of representative democracy was annihilated, and the National Congress dissolved. 9. Pol Pot, brother number 1, ruler of Democratic Kampuchea, now Cambodia, from 1975 to 1979. Salatsar aka Pol Pot was an unusual dictator who had neither a personality cult nor was appropriating the assets of his persecuted opponents. Instead, he focused on destroying his own people. During the 4 years of the Khmer Rouge Party regime in Democratic Kampuchea, about 3 million people, a fourth part of the country's population, were brutally wiped out. Pol Pot imposed a version of agrarian collectivization, forcing city dwellers to relocate to the countryside to work at collective farms and forced labor projects. The Khmer Rouge targeted everyone considered potentially dangerous, which included the military, specialists of all kinds, including teachers and doctors, officials, and educated people in general. Both education and religion were abolished. Schools were turned into prisons or sites for torture, which was widespread. 10. Kim Jong-il, the Dear Leader. Supreme Commander of the Korean People's Army from 1991 till present. According to human rights organizations, Kim Jong-il, son of the eternal President Kim Il-sung, runs the world's most tightly controlled society. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea has been receiving the worst possible score for the 34th straight year on political rights and civil liberties from Freedom House. The people of North Korea have no right to leave the country or freely move inside it, and thus, most information learned about it comes from escapees. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.